Things are not looking good for Baltimore City. Like I've always tried to give the mayor the benefit of doubt. He frustrates me. His politics are off. But I've always held him like above, when it came to corruption. You guys have been warning me about this. Clearly, there's some cooking of the books going on in Baltimore City. Let me tell you a little bit more. Well, McKinsey will.
Reporting on the Sidestep program months ago, Ed Monzi says at the time that 80% of the kids who participate in Sidestep didn't recidivate. Based on what you know about this and the data that you've been able to gather and review, is that correct?
That is correct for a 6-month mark. Once you go beyond that, it jumped to over 40%.
The OIG.
All right, so let me get you caught up. So this is the Sidestep program, an initiative of the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. $700,000 allocated to help 51 justice-involved youths avoid the justice system. And the idea it's basically simple, right? There's a whole process. The police will pick the child up, and this includes for issues related to theft or second-degree assault, unauthorized use of a vehicle, which we know, by the way, from some history on that, involves carjacking. All of these things were things that should get you before a judge, right, or before someone. Well, the Sidestep program says, let's not talk to anyone in the justice system. Let's just talk with one of our providers with the Sidestep program. Remember that $700,000 pot of money? We're going to put you with one of these nonprofits, one of these individuals, and help you stay off the streets. So the program boasted an 80% success rate. Well, it turns out that just wasn't true. You just heard from the Inspector General, Isabel Cumming. She's like, okay, maybe for like the first 6 months, anyone, if you really, dump money into them, maybe you can keep them out of trouble. After 6 months, the recidivism rate jumped to over 40%. That means that almost half of these kids went back to their old ways, being back on the streets, doing whatever. Well, why wasn't that information put out there? And this is pointing to a whole, yes, there's always been questions about these alternative forms of justice. This feels to me like corruption, right? There were 51 individuals that were involved in this program, and there were just 18 of them that simply didn't have any data, right? They went to DJS and like, hey, what's going on? Which takes us back to the issues with Vincent Schiraldi. This was all going on back in 22, 23, 24. So this to me is an example of why we have so many issues with our justice system. There are people, in my opinion, that are literally stealing from the kids. And that's, by the way, the report covers more than what we've just talked about. The report talks about how all of this money was supposed to go to these kids and support them. They have no backup to support that, no reporting, no case management, or very limited. They're falling short in a lot of ways. Even the city had to admit there's a problem. These nonprofits are stealing from our kids. I've been telling you guys about the social services industrial complex. These monies are flowing in. They're supposed to be helping kids. People are lining their own pockets with this. And it sounds like the mayor may be involved with it. And I don't like to think about that.